Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
We are ready for the event.
Great Lakes Science Center, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
ISS, this is Janet Kavandi at the Great Lakes Science Center. We're all here waiting for you.
Hi, Janet. Welcome aboard the space station. You've obviously been here before, but we want to welcome everyone there and look forward to talking to you guys today.
Great. Scott and Kjell, we're so glad to have you join us here. We've got a whole room full of kids, 4th grade through 12th grade. We've got a bunch of students who are lined up, and they're going to have questions for you. And we're going to start with number 1 here, and you guys can kind of decide who would be the best to answer each one, depending on your experience there. Sound good? Okay.
Hi, my name is Amy Lee, and what does space sound like?
What does space sound like? Kjell might want to answer that, or I don't know, Scott might want to, depending on what you think.
Well, in space outside the space station, there's no air, so sound can't travel. So if you were able to hear something, you wouldn't be able to hear it because there would be no sound. But inside the space station here, it's loud in some places. There's a lot of pumps and fans and motors. But it's not too bad, and different places are louder than others, but it's not too bad.
My name is Mallory Dixon. Have you ever spilled a drink in space and didn't mess anything up?
Did you hear that one?
Thank you for that question. I sure did, and that's a great question for me because I just got up here about a week ago, and Scott had to show me around and make sure I didn't make a big mess. And so we drink out of these drink bags. They're kind of and we can put water in these, or they might have a little bit of mix to make juice. And when we plug it into this machine here to get water out, and we stick a straw in there, the straws are already open. And so several times I have stuck straws in there.
You just spilled your drink.
And I just spilled my drink.
See, that's what happened.
So the answer to your question is yes.
My name is Luke, and this is a question for Scott. What do you see and think about when you look out the window?
So, Luke, you think about a lot of things. What is very obvious to me, though, when I look out the window are a few things. It's, how beautiful planet Earth is, how you can't see any borders, like political borders, in other words, borders that people make between countries. So the borders you see on the maps are generally not there unless they're natural borders. So it looks like a lot of the people are, just citizens of one place or area versus any particular country. It makes you think that, we're all, one part of one big team, Team Planet Earth. And the third thing I notice and I think about is how thin the atmosphere looks. And it's something that, when you're standing on Earth and you look up, it looks, like it's infinitely large. But when you look down and you look at Earth and you look at the limb of the Earth, it looks like a thin film. So it's looks very fragile and looks like something that we need to take care of.
My name is Sienna Bell, and my question is, what did it feel like to launch to the space station for the first time?
Well, it was absolutely amazing. So I launched with my crewmates, Kimia Yui and Oleg Kononenko. We launched a little over a week ago, and that was my first ride, and it was amazing. You can feel, as the rocket accelerates, you could feel kind of a pressure on your chest, pushing from your chest to your back, and then you can feel the rocket just kind of move around as it's correcting its course. And then every time a part of the rocket would come away, we call it staging, you can feel a deceleration, and so you're pushed forward into your straps, and then the next rocket section starts up, and you're kind of slammed back into your seat again. So it's an amazing ride, and just getting to ride in the rocket was really fun.
My name is Bethany Sherwood, and my question is, what does Ohio look like from space?
It looks a lot like Indiana, actually. You know, a lot of the states in a certain area look very much the same. You know, and the states in the central part of the United States look very green, and green looks, you know, pretty dark from here. Although sometimes you could tell it's green. But we're about 250 miles away. The Earth is right down there. It's dark now. We're over the Pacific Ocean, but it's a very beautiful place. The United States is. The interesting thing about the United States is it's such a varied different types of terrain. So, you know, in certain parts you see cities, you see very, you know, green, like forest kind of colors. You see desert and mountains. It's really one of the most diverse countries as far as, you know, its geography and other things as well, as we know, in the world.
My name is Stephen Blyer, and my question is, how do you keep in touch with family and friends in space?
Well, the International Space Station is not only this incredible national laboratory, but we've got some high-tech equipment up here too. We have radios, obviously, that we use to talk with mission control, but we have a connection to a secure internet so that we can actually send email to our family and friends. We have a phone that uses an internet protocol so that we're able to call down to phones on the Earth. And then once a week, we get to have a video teleconference with our families. So we get to chat kind of like you would do over your computer at home.
My name's Teresa Sherwood. My question is, how does it feel to go back to Earth and in gravity after being in space for a long time?
So, you know, there are a lot of good things about going back to Earth after being in space for a long time. You miss people, your friends, your family, loved ones, things like that. There's a lot of things about Earth that are just amazing that we don't have here, like nature, you know, the ability to go outside. So, you know, in a lot of ways, it's like, you know, we enjoy flying to space. We also enjoy flying back to Earth. But then you're somewhat dizzy if you've been here for a long time. You're tired. You're sore. Your body's not used to gravity and having, you know, gravity put forces on our body. So we are somewhat sore, even though we exercise up here some. So there are great things about it. There are also some not so great things about going back to Earth.
My name is Sumare, and my question is, will there be any more pieces added to the space station?
Well, we officially completed the construction of the space station several years ago, but it is a great platform for testing out new technologies, and so we're excited. Sometime in the next few months, we're going to be adding on an inflatable module to test out how that type of a structure works for adding volume to the space station. And we're also looking forward to adding some new docking adapters so that we can dock the new commercial crew vehicles that are being built to the space station. And so those are very exciting things that are going to be added to the space station. But for the most part, the places where we live and work, the space station is complete.
Hi, my name is Mushina, and my question is, how well do you know Russian or other non-English languages, and how important has that been?
You know, we all use some Russian, especially on the Soyuz. I wish I knew Russian better. Kjell can speak Russian better than I can. The cosmonauts also speak English. I took Spanish in high school, but I don't remember a whole lot from that. I wish I did. Knowing another language is a really enriching thing, and it's something that's much easier to learn when you're younger. So, I would encourage all of you guys and girls in that room today to focus on that, because it's really a gift that you can then take with you for the rest of your life. But we do use some Russian up here. We use a lot of English, and when we're on the Soyuz spacecraft coming to and from the space station, then it's almost all in Russian, the Russian language.
My name is Timir. My question is, what activities will you be doing during the mission, and how have you prepared for them?
Well, the space station was built to do research. It's a national laboratory, and so we're conducting research up here to learn how to extend the human presence in space. We're learning lessons here that'll help us get back to the moon, to go to Mars. And we're also learning lessons up here. We're doing experiments in materials science and in physics, in combustion, in medicine, to benefit all of us back on the Earth as well. And so we spend about 2.5 years training to learn how to operate the equipment that's up here, not only learning how to operate the systems of the space station to keep the space station running, but also to know how to do the experiments and work with the principal investigators, the scientists on the ground, whose science we are doing.
My name is Christopher Parker, and I wanted to know, what is your favorite food to eat in space, and what food do you miss from home?
I'm not sure I have a favorite food up here. It's interesting how your tastes change. Things that I thought I didn't like when I first got here, I find that I like more now. You certainly like the fresh food that comes up on the resupply vehicles that we get, not very frequently, so it doesn't last very long. But recently we got some vegetables and some fruit. And then, on what I miss from Earth is stuff that's kind of more fresh and a more variety. Our menu repeats itself like every week and a half. So the stuff we eat up here we see fairly often. So it sort of becomes a little bit routine. But this is some trail mix that is similar to what you could get in a grocery store.
Macaroni and cheese.
And here's
probably a favorite of.
here's some macaroni and cheese. I'm sure this would be a favorite of a lot of the kids in the room. Most of our food is not this good as this macaroni and cheese, though.
My name is Edward Cole, and as a medical doctor, what do you find most interesting about being in space?
Well, that's a great question. I've been interested in space for as long as I can remember, and one of the things I was really interested in was how the body reacts to space. And so I've been studying that ever since I was in college. And so really the most exciting thing for me as a medical doctor is to get up here and actually experience the things that I've been reading about. And some of those things are that we have a fluid shift. All of the fluids in our body tend to kind of shift up into our chest and head because we don't have gravity pulling them down. And so especially when you first get up here, your face gets kind of puffy looking and our legs get kind of skinny looking. And that gets better over time, but people told me I had a big head before, and I really feel like I have a big head now.
My name is Alexis. Since there's no up and down space, how do you orient yourself on the space station?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that one more time, please?
My name is Alexis. Since there is no up and down in space, how do you orient yourself on a space station?
Yeah, that's a very good question. One way is a lot of the lights are up here. They're kind of towards the ceiling, or at this, the space between the wall and the ceiling, and a lot of the stuff that's written on the walls and a lot of the hardware is in an orientation where, the ceiling is up here and the floor is down here, so that helps a lot. But what I found after I've been here for a long time, my last flight was almost 6 months, and I've been up here over 100 days this time. And now the orientation doesn't really matter to me as much, almost not at all. The place is just very familiar, whether I'm completely upside down or sideways. So it's really not that important how you orient yourself, but you generally orient yourself based on what you're doing. If you're working on a piece of hardware, an experiment, you're going to want the orientation of your body to match how the orientation of the experiment is with, how things are written, just how it was built and designed for people to interact with it.
I'm Elena, and my question is, what is the time zone of the space station?
That is a great question, because we can't use the outside looking out the window to tell us if it's daytime or nighttime for us, because that changes like 16 times a day. We get to see day and night 16 times a day. So we actually use something called Greenwich Mean Time, or Universal Coordinated Time, and that's basically the time that it is in Greenwich, England. And we just kind of agreed that that's the time that we would use. And so we wake up in the morning at 6 o'clock in the morning GMT, and we go to sleep around 9 or 10 at night, again, on that Greenwich Mean Time schedule.
My name is Devlin, and what type of studies are being conducted as part of your year-long mission?
Well, there are like 400 different experiments that go on the space station throughout the year that I'm here. And like Kjell was saying, they're in all different kinds of disciplines, whether it's studying, how to explore further from the Earth, or studying how to improve life on Earth. But the stuff that's particular to me and Misha, my colleague, cosmonaut colleague who's going to be here for a year with me, there are some one-year science experiments, and most of those are in the area of exploration. I think, in fact, probably all of them are. And it's to understand the effects of this environment, the microgravity, the radiation, being isolated here for a long period of time, and how that affects us with regards to, our bone mass, muscle mass, effects on our immune system, our vision, our ability to do work and concentrate, our cognitive abilities. And those are things we measure on all the other, astronauts that are here for shorter periods of time. It's just the fact that we're going to be here longer than we've had people on this space station before. There's a little bit extra emphasis on those type of experiments to see perhaps if there's a difference between being up here for 6 months, or if you're going to be in space for a year or longer, like if and when we go to Mars someday.
Thanks, Scott. We have time for about one more question, and then we'll say goodbye.
My name is Rowan, and this question is for Kjell. How do you move yourself around if you are floating?
Hey, Rowan, that's a great question. If we kind of got stuck in the middle, it didn't have anything to touch on, it might be kind of hard to get somewhere. But fortunately, here in the space station, we've got just about a surface to push on just about everywhere we are. So it's not too hard to get around. But when you're new, it takes some coordination, and so you end up running into the walls and knocking equipment off the walls sometimes. But we're getting better, and we're hoping that by the end of our expedition, we won't have broken anything in here.
Well, thanks, guys. The kids really greatly appreciate your time. I know you're busy and you got to run back and do some more experiments, but thanks for your time. We really had a great time.
Hey, enjoyed talking to you guys, and you know, and have a great rest of your day.
Station, this is Houston ACR. Thank you. That concludes our event.
Thank you, Great Lakes Science Center. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.